everybody. I am Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. And we're on each and every week. Thank you for tuning in. We bring guests, information, and things to help you decide what you want to do in the real estate market, whether it's buying or selling, or you're looking around, or you're trying to find the perfect opportunity for an investment. There are all kinds of reasons that you need to watch each and every week. The guests we bring on, as I said, and the information you get are from the people doing it in the marketplace. We've had house flippers on, we've had great real estate agents on, we've had mortgage people, title people, all kinds of information that you're gonna have to know if you wanna get in the real estate market. Now, I know a lot of viewers out there are actually watching the show and are also in the business. This is also helpful for you because what we try to do is identify trends which are gonna affect prices, demand, and of course, as we are seeing right now, there's a scarcity in housing and how we're going to deal with that. Up front now, I want to talk about one in particular issue which affects every time we have a market that's ascending. If we're in a market that prices are going up, supply is going down, the number one problem in this type of market is not what you might think. It's fraud. Now, what do I mean by fraud? In a real estate contract, if you're out there and you're thinking right now, I've got to compete with other people who are trying to get the same property I am. There's only a couple ways to do that. One is on price, and two is on contingencies. If you're removing contingencies in your offer, i.e. inspections, you don't have to do the roof inspection, you're waiving your right to appraisal, if you're waiving your other rights in your inspection contingency period, that is a way to compete. The other way, of course, is in price. But so often what happens, and it happened to me when I was doing a real estate contract just recently, a buyer came to me and said, I want to buy a house. I don't want to have any hassles with the loan, so I have all cash. And I proved that the buyer actually had the cash. I looked at the assets, I looked at the things that were important in terms of what was going on in the real estate contract to make sure that the buyer was giving me the documentation I needed to make the offer. The buyer got the offer. We were competing against several other people. When the buyer secured the contract and we were in escrow and the deposit had been given, the buyer approached me and said, I want to get a loan. Now, is that fraud? Or is that just a clever way to wrap up the property in order to be able to then dictate terms to the seller once you have it under contract? In my estimation, it is a fine line between being upfront and honest and trying to manipulate a contract in order to secure a property. Now, there are other reasons that I think in this particular market, when you have prices going up and a scarcity of housing, people will do anything in order to secure the property. I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. We know what the prices of rent are around here. They're unbelievable. And when you've got average rent prices of $948 for a studio, one bedroom, you know, and let me just tell you, the average price in the US for a one bedroom is $600. In Vegas, it used to be that way all the time. You could go all over town and get rents for $600 for a one bedroom. You just can't do that anymore. And there are now segments of the market which are priced out of the rental market. So you have all kinds of reasons why people want to buy real estate. It's a better investment, it's long-term security, and obviously you don't have to be subject to rents going up. So if you're out there and you're thinking about buying real estate, and you need to get a loan, you don't want to commit anything in the contract which is essentially fraud. Now, this example I gave you is a mild example, and I'm sure during the show we will talk about other examples of different kinds of fraud that you want to avoid 100% of the time. Anyway, we have a great lineup for you today. We have Alexis Young, who's a real estate agent from Keller Williams, who's going to be on the show. And of course, we're going to bring back our panel once again to talk about what's going on in the trends in real estate and how things are going out there in the market. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Welcome everybody, I'm Jeff Barton and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We're on each and every week, as you know, and thanks for tuning in and also staying with us. To the heart of the show, and what we try to do is bring great guests, and we bring them each and every week to the screen. Why? Because I don't have all the information, that's for certain, but the guests that we do bring on, whether they be the professional real estate agents or the mortgage brokers or people who repair your house or people who are in politics or people who bring great promotions to Las Vegas and the Valley, these are the people that you want to listen to because they have the answers for you. Now, Vegas is an unusual market. It's burgeoning. The inventory is tight, and what we try to do here is give you the information that you're going to need to know if you want to buy or sell real estate right now. It's springtime 2018, and these things are, they're ever changing. Mortgage rates up, interest rates are going to affect how people are going to buy your property, and I'm not the expert, but I want to bring to the show right now the expert that is gracious enough to come to the show this week is Alexis Young from Keller Williams. Alexis, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much. Okay, give us an idea, quick overall view of what's going on here in Las Vegas in real estate right now.
So right now, I'm sure a lot of people know by now that the market is really hot. Everything is selling very quickly. So if you have your mind on something, make sure you move on it fast because it might not be there tomorrow.
Okay, what does somebody have to do? Now, we spend a lot of time talking about what not to do, the things that you have to do. What are some of the great things, or not great things, but the things that will guarantee a buyer getting a property? What do they have to do?
Well, you need to write a clean offer.
What does that mean?
A clean offer means don't ask for anything. Don't ask for closing costs. Don't ask for a home warranty. A lot of people are still in the mindset back a couple years ago,
right,
and even maybe last year, where you could have gotten something, but now the seller knows that there's going to be multiple offers. So if you want your offer accepted, then you need to go in with your A game first.
Okay, very good. So eliminating contingencies in the contract. Do you suggest that you go in with an approval letter, or how does the financing? Is it all cash? I mean, how do you really make sure that you can get the property?
So cash is king right now,
right,
and so a lot of investors are coming in and it's really competitive. But if you are financing, make sure you have your pre-approval letter done and ready to go. Don't find your property first and then get your pre-approval, because some banks and some lenders will take a couple of days or even a week to get it out.
Right, that's very true. So you work for Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
How has Keller Williams been for you, and do you enjoy working for a big company? I
love Keller Williams. We were voted #1 by Forbes for the happiest place, or the happiest company.
I didn't know that.
Yes, for 2018 to work for.
Okay.
We come from an abundance mindset. We don't do anything from desperation. We give back, and we're actually doing what is called Red Day on May 10th, and we're sponsoring local houses or condos for the homeless youth, and my team is actually doing a kitchen remodel. So we have a list of donations that we would like to get together. We're doing a car wash. We're selling 51's tickets on May 2nd. So if you'd like to be a part of it, just let me know.
Okay, very good. Now, if you give Vince your information about that, we can make sure that it's posted when you're talking about it on the show, just because I think this kind of give back, this kind of community involvement for real estate professionals is really good. Not only is it good for the community, but it's good for us as professionals. Obviously, we get a bad rap all the time from people who say that we're just gold digging, we don't really care about anything, we'll do anything for a sale. And I think this kind of give back is really important to show people that no, that's not the way it is. We really care about the community, and I applaud you for doing that, and I really want you to promote that further. You came to Vegas. Are you from Vegas?
No, I'm not from Vegas.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm from the Midwest, but then I moved to Florida, overstayed my welcome down there, and then I came out to Vegas.
Okay.
And I've been here for 5 years.
Okay, very good. So you've seen the market when it was lower, and obviously you bespoke to that it's now a much tighter market. In terms of the change from when it was really slower to when now that you have to fight for your property, what's some of the advice that you can give buyers or sellers in this particular market to kind of aid them through the difference in the transition from when it was slow to when it's busy now?
Well, my best advice is to make sure your offer is clean, and you have to have realistic goals, being a seller and a buyer. Even though our market's high right now, it's going to get higher. And as a seller, you can't overprice your house too high, because after your window of time has closed, then your house is not going to be fresh on the market, and it's going to get lost.
So you recommend then pricing it in a way that you get offers immediately, rather than letting it sit on the market and then people say, what's wrong with this property?
Yes, as a seller, it's great to have multiple offers, so then you can choose the best one that works for you. For a buyer, though, you can't always count on a seller countering your offer, because there will be multiple offers, and if you like the property, then so does a few other people.
Right, exactly. Okay, so pricing is a very important thing when you're listing a property. When you talk to a seller, you do a listing appointment. What are some of the things that you tell the seller about pricing it correctly?
Well, we do a comp CMA, and I show them all of the properties that are like their property, and what's been sold recently, what's in contract right now, and what the other properties are going for. Just because you have active listings that are around your property that are really high, that doesn't mean that they're going to sell that high.
Right, I think that's true. And how do you combat Zillow and Trujillo and Realtor.com when they go on for their Zestimate and they get these unbelievably unrealized numbers, and then you have to come in and say, nah, that's not really true. They really overestimate value of property. How do you deal with that?
Well, my personal advice is I do not like Zillow, as many other realtors do not, because it doesn't give an accurate Zestimate.
Yes.
It's an algorithm that goes by the entire country, not by neighborhood or zip code. And Las Vegas is actually very small in comparison to other cities. So we have different pockets of neighborhoods that you could have a multi-million-dollar neighborhood right here, and then right on the outside of the wall, you've got empty vacant lots that are just sitting.
Yeah, I know. I always see that, and I constantly tell my buyers, and they're constantly doing it, or the sellers. They'll go onto Zillow, they'll check the prices, and then they'll come back to you, and they'll doubt your ability as a professional, because as everyone knows, realtors don't know anything, they don't do anything, and they just sit back and collect fat commissions. That's what people think about what we do. How do you combat that?
Well, it takes a relationship. And also, in my experience with Zillow, there is a lag of time. So our MLS is up to date and Zillow is not. So when someone brings me a property and they say they're interested, and I have to look it up on the MLS, it was already sold. And they're like, oh, well, why didn't I know that? Because Zillow is not up to date.
No, it's not up to date. And the only way to really get up to date, and I like the idea that you're talking about relationships, because the information is one thing. It's how you use the information and the relationship and trust you build with your realtor to be able to then translate that into a purchase or a sale. How do you build trust with your clients?
Well, I don't exactly say that I'm in the business of sales, and
Right.
I don't exactly like to refer to myself as a realtor. I like to put people, make their dreams become their reality, and
Okay.
that's how I created my website, vegasdreamhome.net, because I feel like everyone has their own dream home or investment, and that it needs to fit properly with their idea. And so I feel that builds trust because everyone isn't going to have the same idea.
No, I think that's right. Taking people as individuals rather than like a Zillow will just take an algorithm nationally. Working with people as opposed to just numbers. This is the way you build trust with anybody in any business, and certainly in the real estate business. Keller Williams, do they appreciate the fact that you bring this kind of personality to the business?
Yes, they love me, and I feel the same way about them. It was a great fit. Everything has been going great with us. I'm also doing commercial as well, so they have lots of opportunities, and they have a great education department. And so if there's any kind of support or questions that you may have, there's always someone to go to.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, no, the commercial, that's a totally different market. What are you in? Are you into leases or sales, or what type of commercial are you doing?
So I'm actually a very unconventional realtor. I'm very creative, and I'm all about strategy. So
Okay.
I took my idea of residential properties to commercial on a larger scale. So let's say you're on the southwest side of town, and I think your business is doing great. Would you like to have another business in Henderson?
Right.
Because a lot of people in Henderson drive over to the southwest and vice versa. So why not capitalize on that? Or I like to bring new ideas to Las Vegas that are not here yet, and they're in other cities. And there's a way that we can capitalize on that, because everybody kind of goes with the market trend instead of thinking outside of the box, and that's where I come in.
No, I think that's a great idea. And the fact that you have a company that you're working with that enables you to be able to do that, and you have the vision to be able to point out for your clients where the next opportunity is, that's very unusual and really a good idea.
Yes, it's all about vision.
Okay. Hey, listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was terrific. Love to have you back again. And thanks very much for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. This has been Alexis Young from Keller Williams, Realtor, and we'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word of mouth advertising. And according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton. I'm the host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're on each and every week, and we bring some interesting people to the show. We try to educate as well as answer some questions. You know, it's a busy time right now, and prices are going up, and obviously the cost of real estate is going up, both from the price as well as the cost of getting a loan. Rates have risen, and they probably are going to raise a couple, three more times this year, as well as the demand for housing. You know, when we get into the summer housing market, we get a lot of people who are moving, a lot of people who need to get housing. So if you're out there right now and you're a buyer or a seller, you really should lock down something immediately. Anyway, I bring back to the show each and every week a great panel of people for the show, and Alexis Young is with us, as well as Rebecca Fitzgerald. Welcome. Thanks very much. Rebecca is our local real estate agent, who is going to give us a little bit of a update as to what's going on in the real estate market.
Yeah, the market is heating up. Actually, there was like a decline in sales, and that has to do with the inventory. We have like most areas, like they say it's about a month and a half of inventory, 1.2, but then different areas like have less inventory than others. Like Henderson has about 2 months of inventory. Summerlin has like a little over like a month of inventory, and then North Las Vegas has less than a month of inventory, and that has to do with pricing because it is cheaper in North Las Vegas, it's more affordable, and as interest rates go up, the affordability of the housing does go up as well. So, but again, we're not quite, it's gonna be more like $325 to $350 of the average home price, and we're probably about $275 before it gets to the affordability that Las Vegas can handle.
Okay, very good. So if we're talking about buyers right now, it's not a great time, and I'll bring Alexis in as well to talk about that. How do we handle the low inventory when we've got high demand with buyers?
I mean, I guess you would have to build, or people just need to rent. Like a lot of people still, since Nevada was affected worse by the crash, we're the like here in like New Orleans or something like that are the only places that haven't recovered. We're still 25% below what we were previously. So there's people that are still holding on to their houses. Like, and short sales take forever. There's a place in my neighborhood that's been under contract for over a year as a short sale, and the bank
Take forever.
Yeah, well, it's not just that they take forever. It's just the banks aren't really wanting to negotiate because they know the pricing is going to go up. So they're taking a hit because they're sitting on the house for 6 months and waiting for the buyer to negotiate with whatever's going on. So it takes forever.
Right, exactly right. Alexis?
Exactly. So I'll be honest, those are not my favorite because they hardly close because of that reason. The banks know that they can get more, and so you've waited all this time to close, and then they'll throw out another number for you. And everybody thinks that they're going to get a great deal on a trustee sale, a probate sale, and then you have to show up to court, and everybody else can show up too, and you have to start all over again. So when you think you found a good deal, I think you should think twice about it.
Yeah, I want to talk a little education. It's going to come up in the election that comes up obviously soon. There's funding. When you're taking buyers out, I mean, where do you go? Do you go to the best school systems? Are buyers more interested in location about the property, or are they strictly interested in the best school systems, the best areas? You know, depending on where you live, that depends on where you go to school. So what are some of the ideas about improving it? And
people pretty much kind of already know where they want to live. If they have kids already, they're just going to stay in the same area, and their kids are going to go to the same school because the education system in Nevada is so poor. It doesn't matter where you put people. Like they'd rather have their kids have more of a stability, and they want to stay in the same school system. Is what I found is more important to buyers opposed to where they're going to go. Like if you're either going to keep them in the same school or you're going to stick them in private school. Those are really the only options if you want a quality education for your kids in the state.
Yeah, no,
or send them to boarding school.
Keller Williams, right? They're doing something, and you mentioned it a little bit off air about one of the things in the articles that I brought up about what you're doing in terms of the homes and placing kids in areas that obviously have some mentorship behind it, maybe some abilities to help them through whatever transition, or placing them in a better school system. Right.
So the Las Vegas Network Partnership is basically helping homeless youth, and they have a sponsored program where they have to keep going to class, they have to get good grades, they have to pass a drug test, and they do have someone check in on them and make sure they're doing okay. And everything is on camera, so they can't have friends in after hours, and they have to adhere to all of the rules while they're living in a free place our free program, and we're actually providing kitchen renovations this year. And in previous years, they've done landscaping and bedrooms. And a lot of these kids, they haven't received anything like that because a lot of their parents just they up and left them.
Yeah,
So they were abandoned.
I don't know how you handle education in the city whereby you have this kind of issue. You obviously have drug issue and parents who work and latchkey kids that come home to no parents. I know that in trying to address that here in Las Vegas, a lot of it comes down to funding. A lot of it comes down to, you know, what's the desire. We had a guest on in a different show talking about, look, why do you need to go to school when you can be a valet and make $100,000 a year? I mean, you know. So the attraction of education here really, how do we reinvent that? How do we reinvest into getting kids excited about staying in school and maybe going
That honestly, in my opinion, that has to do with your family. 100% has to do with your family. My family was very big on education, and it was just trickle down. And if your family is big on education, then your family is big on education. But if your parents didn't go to college or they dropped out and they have the same mentality, like, oh, I could do a host job, I could do this, I could do whatever, which is what most people out here do. They work in, you know, the industry and
Right.
the, you know, an entertainment industry, whatever it is, the casinos, whatnot, and they just don't care. So that's just a mentality that you get from your parents.
Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. I mean, in politics, there's all this social engineering that continually goes on, especially in education, because there's so much money set aside. Here in Las Vegas, it's about the sales tax. It's about how that money is directed. And so what happens is you get people who want to make sure that kids are motivated to go to school. As a parent, I 100% agree. I have 3 kids. They're all going to graduate from college. I have 2 in college, 3 in college now, and one's set to graduate this year. So I know the value of at-home education, but if you have broken homes, kids that don't have parents, and how do you continually want to motivate people in an area whereby it's tough because you got the casinos, you've got all this other ways to make money. I mean, to me, education is the only way to really lift the society in general, but that's a belief. I don't know if it's necessarily true.
Well, go ahead.
I believe that you just have to like set up grant programs for outside, for outside, you know, foundations or whatever
Right.
that will invest in the community, like the program that she's talking about,
Right.
different programs like that. Because the school system is obviously broken. So if you come in and you bring these outside programs to help elevate the education system, the kids will get into that. They'll feel like someone cares.
Alexa, what are you going to say?
Well, I think as a whole, our society is changing and transforming at such a rapid pace with technology, and these children are, they're seeing all of, you know, the money and the technology and celebrities, and they want that kind of life and instant gratification. And our education system, it needs to change because the traditional ways, they're not cohesive with the way our society is, and we need to integrate more mindfulness classes, more yoga classes, more activities that train our youth on how to be financially free and how to create wealth and have a positive mindset, and then come from desperation, because a lot of these children, that they don't have homes and they don't have good parents that care, people that just care, friends that care. If you have some type of classes at school that teach positive mindsets and abundance, that will teach them that there are other opportunities out there and there are people out there that do care.
Thank you. We have to stop right here. I really appreciate you both coming on the show. Thank you very much. And I'm Jeff Barton, your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll see you next time.